It takes us time to realize where we could possibly be at in the market and what could be the right investments for you to make. And the only way you're going to know right now is if you're subscribed to the Crypto Bliss community, making sure you are staying in tune with what we are doing. And as you can see, I don't just bring you videos to just talk here. I bring you videos with absolutely powerful content that will allow you to make a true, real, and proper investment decision. So thank you for being back with me here on the Crypto Bliss community. Let's delve right in. First of all, starting off with our Bitcoin price, we're still hovering around this creeping level here. Really, it's not coming. We could possibly be taking a very strong bounce off of the 50 here. This is on the daily. The stochastic is down, the MACD is down, meaning it's oversold at this point. Could we be starting to potentially look for a bounce at this point? I believe so. What are your thoughts? Now Ethereum, on the other hand, somewhat in a similar position, just dedicated to bouncing between the 10 and the 50 here. And at the bottom on the RSI, at the bottom on the MACD, we're with the 200 just having support being found right here at this position. My friends, I think we're about to see an absolute rip in crypto right now. And regardless of what the total market cap is doing, I did say to you that we probably have until the 9th of July, meaning we have another 20 odd days, so 2 to 3 weeks, that we could possibly still sit around and do nothing. As long as we stay within this triangle formation here, I believe we're having the horses get ready to gallop. Now, of course, with Bitcoin dominance potentially just floating around at the top of this somewhat upward sloping channel, very hardcore looking stochastic RSI turning down, very dead buying opportunity at this point. Doesn't mean Bitcoin is not an opportunity, because you damn straight Bitcoin is the number one opportunity. It is the number one opportunity in the whole world out of all investments ever to have existed on the face of this planet. So take that into consideration with everything else that I'm going to share with you throughout this video. So make sure to stay with me right until the very end. I'm giving you a build-up on purpose. Now, this is Brent crude. I drew this chart for us yesterday after we had the FOMC minutes. To be expected. I did share that with you on this video here and this video here, that perhaps the Fed Chair Powell doesn't do anything to raise the rates. Now, with Brent being at this point, it's currently, so from this point, we've had downward momentum, hit, and somewhat making our way up towards this level. Now, if we zoom in and have a little bit of a closer look at this level, please stay tuned, because right now, these are lower highs and lower lows, okay? Even though here, there's lower lows, okay? We have the moving averages opening up. Yes, there's been a bit of a pullback because of the V-shaped recovery here. However, coming into the 200 moving average, and hence why I put my arrow here, coming into the 200 moving average with a epic amount of horizontal resistance somewhere here between the 80 and the $83 a barrel. I don't believe we're going to see this resistance line trend broken, because we have the hardcore resistance of the 200 plus the downsloping resistance plus the horizontal resistance. Now, I could be absolutely and completely wrong in that situation. However, looking at the stochastic RSI, now bearing in mind this is also a 3-day chart, so the time's a little bit more stretched and apart. We are seeing the stochastic very, very overbought, and the MACD somewhat coming into buy, but looking exhausted at this point. So I'm just going to be very, very honest. There's a lot of resistance right here at this point. And I'm just going to say this one last thing. If oil continues to smash through this downsloping trend, okay, and this horizontal, wow, the whole world's economy will be in for an absolute surprise, an epic recession of proportion. However, if we do see the bounce back, the return down, and we somewhat say, okay, well, that's somewhat the channel, right? then we would likely come down and make a new lower low. Therefore, oil prices will be heading down. I wonder why that's happening. We won't discuss that in today's video. My friends, you take a wild guess taking the orange pill. All right. Now, not only that, we can see that Bitcoin to gold, okay, is increasing very much in a similar fashion to what Bitcoin is increasing to the dollar, right? Look at this time here. Pump, pump, pump. Okay. Now, if we have a look at this, it's doing the same thing against gold as it is the dollar. So cool. We're currently in a little bit of a range here where we've got a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder pattern busy forming here. We also have a very interesting cup and handle formation forming here. It means a breakout will probably end us around somewhere around 60, okay, double where we're at today. Now, my friends, why is this significant and why am I showing you this? Let me give you the opposite perspective. The opposite perspective is we placed gold in front of Bitcoin. Now let's have a real look at where this is. We've broken this trend line. We're hovering on it at the moment. And honestly, this looks terrible, right? Many times I have shown you, and just have a squiz here, that since Bitcoin's inception, look at how much I'm extending my chart. You used to be able to buy whatever this is, 8,000, 30,000, 30,000 Bitcoin would get you an ounce of gold. Imagine 30,000 Bitcoin today. So let's give you this perspective. And this was back then, and it's somewhat around more or less the same as this here. But one gold ounce, okay, when it first started, would have cost you 130, this line up here, would have cost you 131.7K Bitcoin in 2009. One gold ounce would have cost you 0.0716 Bitcoin in 2023. Massive difference, okay? In other words, gold has no real value against Bitcoin. It's being outpaced by Bitcoin in value. Not in dollars, in value, okay? Purchasing ability and value. Value is the right word. So that is a 1.84 million X value in erosion against Bitcoin. Now, which one do you believe is the best asset? I still have more evidence for you. Stay tuned with me, but make sure you are subscribed to the Crypto Bliss community. Let's delve right in, my friends. So first of all, congratulations to the US dollar and the US economy rebranding the US dollar behind the veil of stable coins, which the Genius Act was passed this week, which allows the ability and a huge momentum of stable coins to become regulated as institutional investments to trade. Do you know what that does for you and I? And I'm going to say this because I import ingredients from all over the world and I manufacture locally and I distribute product to beautiful people to keep them happy, healthy, and strong here in South Africa. Now, one example, I did a transaction to China and we've been doing business with this particular company for nearly more than a decade now. The transaction got lost in translation and we are 2 months down and we only received the return of the funds late yesterday afternoon, 2 months down the line. Just to give you some perspective, how absolutely useless banking systems are. With crypto, I could do a transfer to my client. That client would have no intermediaries, no large transaction, and they would be able to receive the money within 2 minutes. Okay, so where on earth are we going wrong here, my friends? You know where? The banking institutions. But we won't go down that line in this video. The cool thing about all of this rebranding is that the Senate just passed this bill that is going to make America the undisputed leader in digital assets. Now, before I go on with this post from Trump, I just said they rebranded. Imagine what they're going to do so that the printing of money doesn't necessarily show up on the balance sheets of the feds, but rather shows up in the form of trillions being printed into digital assets, where the inflation of the companies or the institutions that have the blockchain technology behind those digital assets show us the path forward. And this is a very sneaky route. And this is why, if you are ignoring crypto and digital assets, go back to the Stone Ages, my friends, okay? Because that's where you'll be living if you have not adopted crypto and Bitcoin within the next 2 years, without a doubt. You'll be left behind not knowing how to move forward in the future for yourself, for your families. Please take heed on my word. Nobody will do it better. It is pure genius. Digital assets are the future, and our nation is going to own it. We are talking about massive investment. He is telling you, the president is telling you, okay, and big innovation. The House will hopefully move lightning fast. In other words, they're putting the turbo boosting supercharged engines, V12 Bugatti, Kurensuch, Air Force fighter, stealth bomber, machine lightning speed to crypto and printing of money. Okay, this crypto next phase, if you are not in now, you will absolutely not be able to catch this train when it leaves the station, because this is a speeding bullet train, my friends. Okay, and pass a Clean Genius Act. Get it to my desk ASAP. No delays, no add-ons. This is America's brilliance at its best. We are going to show the world how to win with digital assets like never before. So as leaders in this direction, if you're not listening to the #1 economy in the whole world, can't help you, my friend. And here is why. Here is why. Regardless of how many different labels, brands, flags, names, whatever they print onto these pieces of paper, okay, which is the new brick note just unveiled in Russia, SPIF in 2025. Just have a quick look here. But before I do, it doesn't matter what it's rebranded as. They will still continue to lose, and they will be replaced again. Bitcoin cannot be replaced. Look at this note, and proudly South African flag on this, very interestingly so. I didn't vote for this. Did you vote for this if you're in South Africa? Because I sure as epic didn't. I don't need to show you the whole video. You saw both sides of the note. Really, doesn't matter what it looks like, because the #1 valued asset in this whole world that will help the inflationary environment and the printing of money is Bitcoin. The only one. Yes, gold to a degree, but not really. Thailand is a $515 billion giant, and now they're scraping taxes on Bitcoin. The entire world is coming. I warned you about this on my previous videos. I said to you, if you are not have some Satoshis at the very least, my friends, the more and more of the fake printed money you're going to pay to obtain this asset and its other companions. But truly, Bitcoin is the #1. But really, here's another example. Ukraine just introduced a bill to create a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Don't forget, Ukraine is the fourth biggest government holder of Bitcoin. I don't think they're the fourth, because I showed you my video that Iran and Israel own a substantial amount of more than China and the US. So no, this would then be maybe the 5th. Okay. Nation state FOMO is absolutely accelerating. Yes, it is. I have warned you of this. Now imagine This country on its own owns 46,000. BlackRock owns this. MicroStrategy owns this. The US government owns that. Chinese government this. The Israel, blah, de, blah. Do you see what it is that I'm saying? There's only 21 million here. Maybe 17 million actually. And probably about 1.5 million to be mined over the next 8 years. Okay. You have very little opportunity to obtain some Satoshis here, my friends. That's all I'm going to say to you. Because really, Bitcoin is the economic singularity on this planet. Honestly, fire was this, hydrocarbons, farming, electricity, the internet, gold, precious metals, agricultural, industrial society, central banking. Look at the top offs here. Okay, look at the fiat era. The fiat era is coming to an end, and that fiat era will be overtaken by Bitcoin. My friends, this is not an opinion. It is a fact that is currently unfolding right in front of our very eyes. This is the Bitcoin era. It will change people's lives. It's changed mine, and I hope it's changing yours too. And if it is, let me know down in the comments below. So MicroStrategy announced another 10,100 Bitcoin buy today. There will be 450 Bitcoins mined today. So Michael Saylor just helped his company buy 22 days worth of the newly mined Bitcoin. Where on earth are they getting it from, right? Good question to be asked. And really, who on earth is selling them that Bitcoin? Now here is the HODL top 100 list, okay, in terms of companies in the world. So HODL top 100, have a look here. You can see very clearly strategy is way ahead. And this is excluding the ETFs. We'll touch base on that in a short little moment. But the top 100 at the bottom owns 17 Bitcoin. So in total, the top 100 companies own 830,627 of the Bitcoin. That's nearly 1 million Bitcoin already, my friends. MicroStrategy owning 600,000 out of that number. Just saying. And again, Bitcoin has no top because money printing never ends. M2 money supply expands 5 to 7% per year with huge printing during COVID, right? So during COVID, look at the amount of printing that got done in these 2 years. Then we know the massive bear market crash we had in 23. Boom, look how much money they pulled out of the economy. They pulled 4% of the circulation out, okay? $870 billion came back, which truly isn't a lot if you really look at the debt clock, right? The US total debt. But in January, look at how much we've printed, okay? We're going to start seeing these kinds of numbers come in soon. My friends, are you ready? And look, since January, we've had 3.9% basically. Look how far. We've got another 10x on the print possibly ahead of us. Who knows? Only time will tell. And remember, with crypto, it's all about time in the market, not time in the market. So these are the number of Bitcoin held by US Bitcoin ETFs. You can see here, Grayscale Bitcoin, 620K. Okay, that's all the way back then. Boom, let's pull here. BlackRock, 671,776 Bitcoin. That's mad. So forget all of this right now, okay? They in total own 1.216 million. So I've just shared with you, call it 880 million. 880,000 plus 1.21 million. Call it 2 million Bitcoin. 10% of the total Bitcoin supply is now in the hands of institutions and the banking capital, largest banking companies and asset holding companies in the whole world. Okay. The total of the 1.2 million Bitcoin here is about $128 billion. Now, my friend, I think you see where I'm getting at right now. The supply is running dry. The demand has been drastically increasing. We have never seen this much Bitcoin buys. Hence the prices we are currently at. And yes, prices don't mean anything really in the whole perspective. And I will show you why now. Not from my opinion, but from the views and the objectives of some of the world's top investment managers. But before I do that, there really are people that are complaining about this chart. To be very honest with you, I'm so sad I did not get into MicroStrategy. And knowing MicroStrategy's strategy right now, there's two things you really should be buying. Number one, and first of all, and should be technically your only option, is Bitcoin and holding it yourself. Your second is MicroStrategy, because MicroStrategy is Bitcoin now. Okay, that's just the simple truth. Now, Bitcoin has truly infiltrated TradFi. Look at all of this, okay? At all these companies here. Look at how much Bitcoin accumulation has been happening here. These are the Bitcoins that are being accumulated. I don't think you can conceptually realize how much Bitcoin these institutions and these treasuries are accumulating. There is only so much Bitcoin, my friends. And so according to Mexican billionaire Ricardo,
Bitcoin is a new global reserve asset. It will surpass gold. So take that as take-home values from this talk. One thing, Bitcoin will be more valuable than gold shortly. Now, today, at $105,000 per Bitcoin, the 2 billion, the 20 million Bitcoins that are out there, well, they're worth, 2 point something trillion. Mm-hmm. Gold is worth like 16 trillion. So Bitcoin should go up at least 8 times to equate the storehouse or the value storage capacity of gold. And I have no doubts that it will happen very shortly. I mean, I wouldn't say when, but if you look at any trend, gold, in terms of Bitcoin, the trend is going down, and it's so easy to see,
And this is exactly why I need to bring this up with you once again. Gold is currently sitting at a $22.7 trillion market cap. So what I'm about to show you in the next few videos is going to give you some perspective of where other opinions may lie. Cool, it may gobble up gold market cap, which is 11x away from where we are. That's amazing, okay? Bitcoin is currently back here under Alphabet, but by $200 billion odd, my friends. It'll gobble this back up in no time. Apple is taking a bit of a hit right now. Amazon's taking a bit of a hit right now. We will see Bitcoin by the end of the year very likely surpass these top. It'll come into second place. Let's just say that this year. And if the videos I'm about to share with you give you any reconciliation that Bitcoin may even go beyond gold this cycle and stay at the number one asset going forward.
Part of the game of the dollar is that it looks stable, but it's leaching value every second of every day from your hard work is being leached away. Bitcoin is the opposite in that you are gaining purchasing power for your hard work every single day. And yes, the price vacillates in fiat money terms is an indication of the weakness of fiat money. It has nothing to do with the weakness or relative strength of Bitcoin. 1 Bitcoin equals 1 Bitcoin. Just like 1 ounce of gold equals 1 ounce of gold. Gold is now hitting new all-time highs. It's still 1 ounce of gold. That the amount, the supply, the global supply, which is roughly up maybe 3% a year, it's not dramatically changed from a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, but the price is up dramatically. What's that telling us? That's telling us that the fiat money world is losing confidence. Okay. Now, if you look at Bitcoin versus gold, well, gold's been around for a long time. It's got a total market cap of roughly $13-14 trillion. Bitcoin to maybe $1.2 trillion. Bitcoin's going to at least equal the market capitalization of gold in dollar terms. So you've got now a 13-14x just to get to gold, which is a lot higher than the current price. And then, of course, it should exceed gold. It should also demonetize not only gold, but demonetize the bond market, demonetize the property market, demonetize the stock market. So now you're talking about Bitcoin worth 100 trillion, 200 trillion, 300 trillion. These are all completely within the realm of highly probable going forward. And so therefore, don't look at the price. The price is the least interesting data point of Bitcoin. It tells you just about nothing versus the hash rate or the difficulty adjustment or any of the other underlying metrics of the protocol are much more telling and informative about what's happening than the price. The price is just a proxy for how quickly the fiat money world is disintegrating.
However, if cash and fiat is disintegrating at the rapid rate it is after everything I've just expressed to you in this video, then I would say to you that you need to know that Mr. Max believes that the price of Bitcoin could be a lot higher, not in the future, but actually in this cycle.
So Bitcoin should trade at parity to gold in terms of market capitalization, which means that it could easily go from 85,000 a coin to 850,000 a coin during this cycle. So say the next 5 years. So you got 1,000% return in 5 years, I think is a reasonable expectation for Bitcoin as it achieves parity in market capitalization with gold, which it definitely should because it does everything gold does, but it does it better.
So my friends, that's why you should absolutely come over, use my Bybit link down below. Doesn't matter what we're doing here right now. I can adjust this ever so slightly and give you a little bit more of a room to breathe here on the trading chart. But honestly, this is a great time to be buying Ethereum, considering we're setting up for a breakout on this pattern here. We can see that it's happening. These are fake outs. This is faking out right here. Look at the higher lows we are currently creating. So it doesn't matter that I'm a little bit down on my Ethereum or my XRP trade, my friends. Just keep an eye out and look at where it's going. We're about to get a breakout. Make sure to use my Bybit link down below. Get yourself up to $30,000 deposit bonus using my link, and let's make sure that you are also subscribed to the Crypto Bliss community. And if you're enjoying this content, please make some noise. Shout out for me down on the comments below, because your comments and your likes on this video and sharing will help the YouTube algorithm push the content on this channel. That is gratefully appreciated. So Franklin Templeton went on CNBC and said this.
I am a big believer that people's understanding of these new opportunities and people's excitement about these new opportunities is really starting to ripple out from the original core sets of investors. And as more companies, as more asset managers, as more individuals, as more advisors become understanding and excited about this growth opportunity, that demand is going to continue to come in and expand the markets. Don't forget, crypto is still only looking at about a $3 trillion market cap. That compares to 100 trillion of assets that are being professionally managed. So there's plenty of room for this allocation and these interests to grow. And when there's incoming demand, that really does create a underpinning of support in a market that allows prices to really have that stability that lets them explore whether they can push higher.
So I've previously shown you what $100 trillion could potentially look like in Bitcoin. Let's go and have a look at what it could do. All right. Boom. $100 trillion could give us a $5 million Bitcoin. So between Max Kaiser and Sandy Krall, we could possibly be seeing 850,000 to $5 million. I think the $5 million may come next cycle, but I wouldn't write off the $850,000. We all know my target is $300,000. What is your target? Let me know by what date. Let me know down in the comments below. Now, just a very friendly, if Bitcoin hits $100 trillion, which I'm pretty confident it will, I've shown you between 23 to $100 trillion, could come through in the next little while. That is a 65x on your money. Okay. So if you've invested one Bitcoin, and definitely the portfolio isn't that price, but it's 100,000. One Bitcoin would be worth 5 million. You've spent 100,000 to make 5 million. You've made $4.9 million in profit, in value. Forget profit, in value. okay, which you can do some crazy things with and would change so many people's lives. If it could change your life, let me know down in the comments below. I truly appreciate you being here with me on the Crypto Bliss community, and we'll see you on the next one.